What is up, guys? We just got done watching the third Republican primary debate down in Miami. So we're going to get right into it. There's a lot to unpack here. We're going to go over some of the highlights. I'm going to tell you guys who I thought won, who lost, who looked stupid tonight. So right off the bat, I can tell you guys I think Vivek won easily. He came out swinging. He had a very poor performance last time around. He did okay the first debate, but he kind of they ganged up on him last time and they made him look stupid, and he kind of was trying to be the nice guy, and it blew up in his face, and it wasn't a good look for him. And ever since then, he's been going down in the polls. So this time he came out swinging. He went after Nikki Haley and her corruption. He went right off the bat. He went after the moderators. He called out NBC with their years of propaganda. And he called out the endless wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He called out the hypocrisy around Ukraine. He was on fire tonight. So we're going to look at some of these highlights that CNN has. So for foreign policy, they talked a lot about Israel. I think a lot of them pretty much everybody had some good moments on Israel. I think the Republican Party is pretty united on this issue. DeSantis had a good line, Tim Scott as well, that DeSantis made he said that if for everybody that on these college campuses who is promoting hatred and supporting Hamas, that they're out of here. He's gonna take away their visas and get them the hell out of here, because we're not gonna tolerate that stuff. That was a really good look for him. That made him look strong. They also talked a little bit about Ukraine. Ramaswamy again looked really good on this issue. He made a lot of claims. He called out Ukraine for not being the true ally that everybody thinks it is, and he called out everybody on the stage for their backtracking on the issue, which was pretty good. And he also, another thing I think Ramaswamy did really good was calling out the Republican National Committee chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel, after last night's pathetic performance for the Republicans in Ohio, Kentucky, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. We pretty much got swept last night, all but one race, a Mississippi governor race. We barely hung on. Other than that, we would have got swept. Something's got to change, and they talked a little bit about that. It doesn't seem like anyone really has a plan for how we're going to fight back on the abortion issue. I think Chris Christie had a good moment on that, where he said we just got to have to let the states decide it. I think that's the right thing for Republicans to do if they don't want to keep getting killed on this issue. Ramaswamy also called out the moderators as they gave credibility to the propaganda lie that Russia, that Donald Trump was in collusion with the Russians to win in 2016. Because all they do is push their propaganda about the 2020 election, but in reality, they were the ones saying the election was stolen back in 2016. And they repeated it for years and years and years. They've never backtracked on it. They've never apologized. They've never come out and said it was a lie, even though it was proven to not be true. So Ramaswamy did a good job of turning it back on them, and he pretty much said, answer the question. And of course, there was no answer. And Ramaswamy also had a very good point of the Republican Party overall is being run by a bunch of idiots. The Democrats would never have agreed to a debate on Fox News. They would have never agreed to a debate with Tucker Carlson. But somehow the Republicans get roped into doing a debate with NBC. Pretty freaking stupid. And then Ramaswamy also made a good point about how we should have Elon Musk and Tucker host the next debate. They'll get a lot more ratings. I totally agree with that. That would be pretty cool. Then there was the whole personal feud between Haley and Ramaswamy. Haley had been calling out Ramaswamy for being on TikTok, and he hit back and called her out because her daughter's been on TikTok. The crowd jumped in and booed, and then Haley told him, leave my daughter alone, you're scum, or whatever she said. Again, that was really good on Ramaswamy. I think, anyways, I know some people might think that was uncivil or unpolite, but that's the kind of losing attitude that Republicans have had for years, and it's gotten us nowhere. So calling her out on her hypocrisy and her lies was a good move on his part. And then I think my favorite line from Ramaswamy, I think they had it over here, was he right off the bat, he was right here. So he was right to do this because Haley she's a total warmonger. I wish they would stop calling her a hawk. Let's call it for what it is. It's warmongering. Ramaswamy said, do you really want another Dick Cheney, but just in 3-inch heels? That's essentially who Nikki Haley is. That's all. Every time she opens her mouth, that's all she ever wants to talk about is how we can get involved in more wars and why we need to be in endless wars for the end of time. She championed the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, staying there forever, staying there endlessly. She wants troops in Israel. She wants troops in Ukraine. She's an absolute disaster. She literally would be Dick Cheney in heels. She would be a continuation of the failed Bush administration. And finally, somebody is calling her out on her crap. I was waiting for Ramaswamy to do it the last debate, and he didn't. He was trying to be friendly to her, and she spit in his face and made him look stupid, and he came right back this time and spit right back in her face. And you could tell the whole time Nikki Haley had no answer. She every time he called her out on her corruption, she kind of just got an awkward smile on her face and had that look of please. Sorry about that, guys. The video cut off for some reason. I guess the webcam is too much for my computer to handle. So sorry, no more webcam. But as I was saying, Ramaswamy was calling her out for her commitment to her defense contractors, which I thought was a great moment again for him, highlighting her pure corruption. Pretty much the defense contractors donate money to her campaign through campaign contributions. Therefore, she turns around and starts endless wars all over the globe. Then that money that goes from Congress to all these conflicts actually goes to the defense contractors because they have to make all these weapons and all this stuff, and they get rich. She gets money in her campaign, gets reelected. That's the gist of how this endless corruption cycle works. And he pointed out how she was poor when she came in, and now she's on the board of Boeing, and she got rich off of that. So that was a great moment for him as well. Chris Christie, every time he opened up his whopper hole, I just fell asleep. Not much to say. I mean, a lot to look at because he's took up the whole stage, but nothing real meaningful came out of his mouth tonight. Tim Scott, he was just there, just like the last two debates. I was surprised that he even made the debate. I didn't even think he was going to be there. I didn't know until today, and this morning when I woke up and looked. He must have just got on the stage by the hair of his chin. He certainly won't be at the next one. DeSantis, he's always has a lukewarm debate performance, I feel like. He had some good moments and some good lines. There was no real hiccup for him, no real mess that he got himself into, so it was it wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, it was kind of just middle of the road performance for him. I would have liked to have seen more out of him because I want Nikki Haley to be defeated by him. Somebody needs to step up and take her down because her poll numbers are too high for the type of person that she is. So I was hoping to see more out of him. So yeah, they talked a lot about Israel, talked a lot about Ukraine. They talked about our debt, and they talked about Social Security. They all talked about raising the retirement age and how we're going to fix Social Security. Heard some good ideas. Means testing. Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg don't really need Social Security checks. So I agreed with that. Yeah, so it was the whole debate was pretty much about Israel and Ukraine. There was a lot of talk about the southern border. This was where I think DeSantis had a really good moment. He talked about sending the military down to the border, and the drugs coming across the border. That would be their last thing they ever did. He was gonna shoot him stone cold dead. That was a really good moment for him. Then Vivek talked about expanding GDP growth and firing bureaucrats within the federal government as a way to save money. I feel like that was a good moment for him as well. But other than that, I don't think this is really going to change the numbers a whole lot. Trump is sitting at about a 40-point lead. DeSantis is a distant second with about 14% of the vote, and everybody else from there is in single digits. Trump's leading in all the early states by at least 30 points, and by him not being there, he got a boost the last two debates that he wasn't at, so I assume he will get another bump from this one. He had a rally tonight to counteract the viewership of this debate. I didn't watch it. I'm sure I'll see highlights all over YouTube tonight and tomorrow. But other than that, guys, Vivek is the big winner tonight. Haley is the big loser. DeSantis was kind of in the middle. And then Whopper, Holt Christie, and Tim Scott they just existed. They were just on stage. So going forward, we have a fourth presidential debate, and I'm predicting now that for sure Tim Scott will not be there. Haley, DeSantis, and Vivek will for sure be there, and it'll be up in the air for Christie. So we'll be watching that real closely. Let me know down in the comments below who you guys thought won the debate, and be sticking around because I'm going to be covering all sorts of stories related to 2024 and anything political. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.